do the table?
Table?
Yeah.
Oh, here, I'm sorry, I'll take him back.
You guys can talk, sing, something.
$1 for the second one. אתה לא יודע יותר גבוה? בסדר.
מה זה?
אתה קצת יותר
לא,
גבוה?
זה מעולה. מעולה. Alright. This is good. Okay. Hi, Dina. Hi, guys. Hi. Well, thank you for coming. And good for you that you take out time for yourselves. We take out time for ourselves, which isn't a given at all, especially when it comes to these things, because sometimes they can be boring and not exciting, and it's late. But Jerry makes it amazing. So give a round of applause to Jerry. Thank you so much, Jerry. Really, really like all out. Oh my God, it's crazy. Spread. Okay, so this is what we're doing now. We're talking about, first of all, before we begin, remember, this is the Refuah Shalema of Yehuda Shmuel ben Rachel. Should I have a complete Refuah? And let me see if I have his name written down. David ben Chaya Rivka. Should I have a Refuah Shalema? So what we're doing right now is what we're going to understand. Do you see me okay? You okay?
I'll move on.
Okay. We need to understand this. We need to understand how things are not random, how things are not accidental, and how everything in our life is really an outcome of where we are. Okay? Now, we're always, because we weren't taught this from a very young age, we weren't taught how to think clearly and how to align our thoughts in order to get the results that we want, then our mind naturally is very scattered, especially being women. But the fact that we have this scattered mind is just a byproduct of not knowing how to organize it, not knowing how to make it work for us. Because in essence, what happens is that if I understand, and we're going to learn soon how we're going to start in a second. I'm going to read to you, and your mouth is going to drop, because you're going to see how, in essence, everything in your life is just an outcome of either a limited belief that you have about yourself or about your life or about what's coming to you or what you deserve, or it's a belief with certainty about something. Okay, now the more certain I am in the back of my mind about, when I say the back of my mind, the small brain, I mean my subconscious, the more certain I am about that, the more I'll have it. It'll just be in my life. It'll be whether it's something good or something bad. Why is it that oftentimes women or men that have been abused when they were children attract abusive partners? And it doesn't have to necessarily be abusive as abusive. It can also be neglectful. Children that were neglected, oftentimes they'll take emotionally neglectful partners and as women, and then their whole life they're kicking and screaming about how it's not fair. You should love me, you should see me, you should notice me, you should care about me. Why don't you? I do so many things for you. It's the same conversations that they had in their minds or in reality when they were little. Why don't you see me? Why don't you love me? Why don't you take note of what's important to me? Why are you not here? Don't you wonder, what I'm thinking or what I want or my dreams or my goals or my aspirations? Where are you? Right? And that never happens, meaning the loops. We create loops in our lives, patterns in our lives. And that's how we live. We live based on patterns. That what we saw is what we manifest. What we saw is what we attract. What we've experienced is all we know. So all we know, we make more of what we know. We make more of what we know. We make more of what we know. Okay, it's like the little like Filipinos all they know is to make the horseshoe, and all they know is that's how they work in a mifad, they work in a factory, and all they do from morning to night is make this horseshoe. That's what they know to do. Now ask them to make a dress, they'll be like, what's a dress? Right? Because what we create, what we produce in our life, and now you have to understand, you're not a it's not happenstance, and it's not happening to you, and all the things in your life, whatever status you're in, whatever situation you're in, whatever it is, you have to know that it's coming. It literally is coming from a manifestation of the things that you know and the things that you remember. Okay, now there are a lot of things that you remember that you don't even know that you remember. Lots of pictures, lots of images. The Zohar explains how, and we talked about this last time a little bit, and we touched upon this for the ones that were here. There's something called tziyurei nefesh, and we all do this. Okay, from a very, very young age, before you even came out into the world, from the moment you were conceived, you were a sponge and you absorbed the noises, the sounds, the feeling, whether in the womb it was a stressful experience, whether your mother was stressed, whether your mother was angry, or she was calm and she was listening to good music and she was working on her energy and she was working on where the environment that you're in, the environment that you remember all of it. It's all recorded. Every single part of it is recorded. Now, the reason that we don't remember it, we can't access these things is because we don't necessarily need to access all the memories. But the memories, the tziyurei nefesh, they create the patterns. Because you only create more of what you know. So your life is it's a continuous pattern. And the more you know of what you're doing, the more you know of what is that you know, the more you're just going to have what it is that you have. Zehu. That's point number one. Let's just start from that. That's the fundamental point. Now you have to understand, this work here, the work of machshavos, the work of thoughts creating reality, is the highest. Our thoughts are our highest faculty. There's nothing higher. There's nothing bigger. I'm just going to pick this up a drop.
You need lights?
No. Okay. We're good. Hold on. That's good. That's perfect. Yeah. Good. So that's premise number one, okay? Let's just understand that. You only have what you have in your life because of what you absorbed your whole life and what you experienced in terms of, this is what belongs in my picture, and this is stuff that I don't even know exists, so it's not my picture. Let's take, for example, a kid that is born in a home that his parents use drugs. Hardcore drugs, heroin. He grew up seeing the needles, he grew up seeing the drugs, he grew up seeing the way it affected his parents right afterwards. He grew up seeing the detoxes, he grew up seeing the shakes and all of that. He grew up in it. Now he knows it's dysfunctional on some level, maybe at some point he realizes, oh, this is not the way it's supposed to be. But forever in his mind, he's so familiar with this thing. To you, it's this most estranged, like you have no connection to. You've never seen a needle with heroin. You've never seen someone inject. You have no frame of reference for that. For him, it's something that was the water that he swam in. That's what he knows. That was his environment. The likelihood of him experiencing that in his life is a lot higher than someone that has never been exposed to it ever before. You understand? The likelihood of you experiencing what you're experiencing in your life right now is statistically high based on what you've experienced as a child, based on what you've absorbed your whole life, based on the limited beliefs that you have about yourself or what you deserve or what's coming to you or what's never going to come to you or what's never going to happen for you, or the things that you don't even know exist for you outside of the realm of possibilities that you know exists. Okay? Now we have a very big problem with being realistic, because the Torah doesn't tell us to be realistic at all, actually. And right now we're going to get into all of it on how there's no such thing as really being realistic. Being realistic is being sad. Being realistic is being not in touch with the work of expansion. Ooh. It's okay. It's good. This is fine. I don't know why it just keeps like sinking. Okay.
Continue.
So being realistic. Being realistic is not a Torah concept, because it's not real. The concept of being realistic isn't real. There's no such thing as being realistic when you're in the work of expansion, because the whole point is that if I want to get more stuff on my plate, for example, let's say you go to a shmorgas. We're here in Jerry's house. You take your plate and you put on your plate what it is that you want. I don't want the crackers. I'm not going to go for the pecans, but I'll go for the salad and I'll go for the the cabbage and I'll have a cup of whatever, and that's because that's what I desire. That's what I want. That's what I want, right? So that's exactly the same thing in terms of the way we orchestrate our life, the way we set up our life. I only have what I have on my plate: my husband, my children, my no husband, my no children, my job, my lack of money. All of those things that I have on my plate are only the things that I haven't, that I've chosen to put on my plate. Whether we realize it or not, I chose this to put on my plate. What are my decisions based on? My decisions are only based on what I know. My decisions are only based on what I was given, the frame of. There's so much around. There's so much beyond what I know. There's so much beyond what I've been exposed to. There's so much beyond all the things that I grew up on. There's so much beyond in this world that I don't know exists. I only know what I have on my plate, what I've been exposed to, my tziyurei nefesh, the stuff that I remember, my zichronot. That's all I know, and that's what I make my bed with. That's what I put on my plate. That's what I end up seeing in my life. So what's the equation? The equation is if what I have going on in my life is only a result of all the stuff I absorbed, I was realistic about, this is what it is, this is what I have, this is what I deserve, this is what it is, this is what it is. If that's where I'm at with this is what it is in my life, I'm unhappy with my body, I'm unhappy with my relationship, I'm unhappy with this, I'm unhappy with that, but this is what it is, then what I understand there to be is a very, 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 very mitzumtzam, very, very, very limited view on my life. And that's no one's fault. We're not looking to blame anyone. We're just looking at the issue. What's the issue? The issue is all of us want to expand. All of us want to broaden our horizons. All of us want to feel better, look better, live fully, live passionately, live wholesomely. We all want to live. We don't want to drag our feet through life like all the adults that we see around us. Okay, most of them. We want to live this life and this age that we're at because we're only getting older and it's only downhill from here. No, I'm just kidding. We don't want to. We want to live the moment, live the life, live my potential, live my passion, wake up my heart, wake it up. I want to be in touch with my life. Okay, and that's why people are so drawn to emotions, because in essence, what the Zohar says is that we don't make our decisions based on our minds. We make our decisions based on our regesh. Okay? Our regesh is what pulls us. Our regesh is what our emotions, our feelings. Now our feelings get their energy from our mochin, from our minds, from our seichel. Okay, that's where my feelings comes from. Let's say, for example, I am a not religious girl, okay, and I see a Haredi guy walking down the street. So what I have in my moach, what I have in my mochin, and the reason that it's plural and it says mochin, it's not moach, is because we have three brains. We'll get to that in a different time, okay? But we're going to simplify so we can get this concept, okay? When I see a Haredi man, and I'm a girl standing on the corner, let's say, grew up in a secular house, wearing jeans, okay? Not only my only exposure to religious people was what I saw on the news. All the bad things that they were doing, all the stuff that they were stealing, all the kids that they were raping, all that stuff. That's all I saw when I saw a beard and black whatever clothes, right? Then when I walk down the street and I see someone that's Haredi, immediately, what's my mochin going to tell me? What? This guy's bad news. Ew, too. Right? Why? Because all the information that I have in my head that associates with this thing is that amount of information. I never had a real experience. I never really had a conversation. I never sat at his table. I never really got to know him on an emotional level in any way. So the only experience that I have with him is what I have in my mind based on what I was fed, and that's what comes forth. That's the regesh that comes from it. That's the emotion that comes at this person. Ew. So what are we learning? We're learning that in essence, everything that you're attracting, everything that's in your life, and everything that you feel is a 100% direct byproduct of what's going on in your mind. And that's why the more you know, come in, hi.
Thank you.
Have something to eat. There's a lot of food in the front, and the side, and the back. What?
Thanks.
You're welcome. No problem, sure. Don't be embarrassed. We're all friends. So that's premise number 2. Premise number 2 is what you feel comes from your mind. The reason that you have a certain amount of emotion, towards something is because of the way you grasp it, the way you understand it, the way you've been taught to see it. Okay? It's not necessarily objective or true or real or I'm being realistic. No. It's the way I have the little bit of information that I have in this thing. That's how I'm grasping it. That's how I'm seeing it. That's my take on it. Okay? And then the emotions follow suit. The emotions always come from the way the mind thinks. That's why, how many of us in the room are Baalei Tshuva? Didn't grow up religious and chose a religious path. Raise your hand. Okay, fine. Like, she's trying to get away with it? I know. What's Baalei Tshuva? Baalei Tshuva is prior to your decision, you were set on one way because it's what you had. It's what you knew. Your vision was this. And all of a sudden someone came and started saying all these things and teaching you all this stuff and opening up your mind to all these new things, which is what we're doing in essence tonight. Anytime you learn, what happens to a certain area in your mind is that it expands, it opens. Now what happens when this opens? When this opens, what happens to the plate? What happens to what you see in your life? What happens to who you're attracting? What happens to what you're manifesting? What happens? Ta-da. Hi! Oh my gosh, new shades on? Every time you come into my glass, I give you such a warm welcome. It's all real. It's all real. It's my heart. Next time you get a ride with me, she's my neighbor. No, I don't want to ride. I don't want to come to her.
She could do why said Voalet.
Fine. Fine. She wants to be fashionably late.
No.
And you are so fashionably late. So answer the question. If we just learned, girls, get on your game. We want to expand the mind, okay? That's why we're here. I mean, you're here for the salad. I get it. Whatever. Bianca's like, yeah, I was here for the salad. I know what you're talking about. I'm just kidding. Why are you here, Bianca?
To hear you talk.
I love you. So what happens when you expand your mind? Meaning you now learned new things about God that you never knew existed or you never knew a thing about, okay? Or knew something called Shabbat. You never knew Shabbat was. Something that you never knew about, okay? This was your life till now. You were honky-dory. You were fine. You were doing your thing. All of a sudden someone came and did this and opened you up. Opened this place up. What happens to you now?
You have more options.
How come you have more options?
You have more knowledge.
So what does that mean practically?
You have more to pull from.
And then what happens?
Change.
What happens to you?
Change the way you think, how you react to things.
Exactly. And what does that create? What kind of a...
New emotions.
Good. New emotions stem from new knowledge. New knowledge, when new knowledge comes, it expands you. And when you have new emotions, and this is the best part of the whole thing, when you have new emotions, what happens?
You grow.
You attract different people, different experiences. You just see something new. When you grow, when you heal, okay, when you grow past a certain level of stuckness, and you grow, and all of a sudden you came out of something hard, and you came out of something difficult, and you're in a better place. That place that you were, all of a sudden you look back at certain people that you were friends with, or certain people that you attracted, or certain people that were so a part of your life, and it's almost like there's like nothing to talk about. There's like no common ground anymore. There's almost, not in a bad way, but you have energetically, emotionally, mentally have just upgraded. And when we upgrade energetically, we now like attracts like, and now we pull into our circumference, into our presence, into our lives. We pull new experiences, new job offers, more money, more people, better experiences. That's what happens. Okay? So now there's something that's very, very important, okay, that I'm gonna pound you with this, get this, because this is unbelievable. Okay. Rabbi Nachman. Okay, there's something, before we get to Rabbi Nachman, there's something called synchronicity. You ever heard of synchronicity? Carl Jung? Carl Jung, he was a professor, and he explains what synchronicity is. Synchronicity is when you all of a sudden learn about something, you never saw Gucci in your life, you didn't know it existed, you didn't know what the thing is, you don't know what the logo is, you don't know any of it. All of a sudden you saw it for the first time, someone told you, oh, you don't know what Gucci is? This is Gucci. It has those things, and like, this is Gucci, and this is the bag, and this is the price, and all of a sudden, wherever you go, all of a sudden, oh, there's Gucci, oh, there's Gucci, oh, there's Gucci. All of a sudden, you notice people wearing Gucci, you notice the color of Gucci, you see it everywhere. Once you know it, once you've expanded, all of a sudden, you become aware of it. All of a sudden, you see it. Meaning, the amount of vision that we have in our life is so little that we're literally peeking out of a peephole like that. We're like, how come this is so bad? Because we're not seeing the full picture. And so Hashem doesn't say, only after you die, then I'll show you the full picture. Yeah, after we die, it's a no-brainer. We'll get to see the full picture because the show's over. Curtains down. Period. End of story. Then you can see the whole picture. But while you're alive, our mission here, your drive, my drive needs to be to open up that peephole as much as possible. Because the more I open up the peephole, okay, the more I open it up, the more opportunities come into my life. And the more I expand. And once I expand, I attract people that are expanded. And I attract situations that are expansive. And I attract more money that is expanding, because more money is a chavat nefesh, that I can have more options and more things that I can choose from. I can take a course, I can go to school, I can expand myself, I can do things that are help me get into a better space in myself. That's the point. The point is not to stay, there's something called in Hebrew, full gas neutral. That you can press on the gas all the way down, you down the gas pedal all the way down, but you're neutral. So you're standing in the same place, but you're pushing! And you're pushing, but you're in the same place. How do we stay in the same place? We stay in the same place when we keep on doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again, with all of the might and everything we got, because this is what it is, and this is what I know, and this is what's real. And anything else? Stam shtiyot. This is what's true, this is the truth. When I have my mind, when my mind is closed, when I have a small mind, I'm just going to keep getting a repeat. It's a Groundhog Day. It's a repeat over and over and over. When I'm 20, it's the same thing it's going to be when I'm 30. And when I'm 30, it's going to be the same thing when I'm 40. And when I'm fighting with my friends when I'm 20, I'm going to be fighting with my husband when I'm 30. And then I'm going to be fighting with my kids when they're 30. And that's how it is. Because nothing changes. The fact that our skin ages and the fact that we age through life, nothing changes if everything starts from the mochin. Everything starts from the mind. This is our battleground. This is where we either make it or break it. This is where life happens, right here. Life doesn't happen out here. That's just a manifestation. It's just all the energy that you're pulling into your life based on where you are energetically. And your energy only comes from your mind. So the more you feed your mind and you come out to classes like these or classes that will expand you or that provoke you and that make you feel and make you want to think, make you want to write, make you want to sing, make you want to dance, make you want to say yes to things that are outside of your comfort zone, the more you're able to do that, the more things open up. That is why thoughts create reality. Because everything happens in here. And so now what's the avoda? Okay, this is really, really important, and we're gonna go through this quickly. I'm gonna give you some sources, amazing sources. Okay, listen to this, and you know what? I want to tell you something. I learned this when I had just gotten divorced, and I remember waking up in the morning. I was already living with my parents, with my kids, my little babies, 2 little babies in diapers, $0 to my name. I felt like I just went backwards by 10 years. Only with 2 kids now, okay, and having no concept of where life was going to take me. None, 0, okay. I would wake up in the morning, go wash my face, go wash my hands, and not be able to lift my head up and look in the mirror. For 3 months, I couldn't look at myself because I was so turned off by myself. I had so many negative feelings. And remember, where do feelings come from? Where do feelings come from? Thoughts. Feelings come from thoughts. Okay, you only feel something towards something based on how you think about it, based on how you gauge it, based on what you know about it. Okay? So you have to know that it's not objective how you see your husband. And it's not objective the way you're experiencing your friends. It's all based on how you're thinking, engaging, and then that creates an emotional response. And that emotional response either it guides you in life. So I remember not being able to look at myself in the mirror, just couldn't look at myself in the mirror. Oh, such a failure. Like in every way, shape and form, I failed. I failed myself. I failed my kids. I failed the marriage. I failed anything that I was making money at. Failed. I was getting messages from people. I got a message from this guy that sent me a message back then, and I also got a very similar message recently, which is very interesting to me. And he said to me, how do you think that you can get up and speak in front of people when your whole life is a failure. You're not married, you're divorced, you have no money, you're not successful. How? And I sat there and I said, he has a really good point. He's right. I should just shut up now and go away. And that's what I did. I stopped speaking for a long time, and the more I stopped, I choked because that's the only thing that really back then was some kind of light for me, like helping people, talking to people. Even though I was in the gutter, I still know a lot of things. I still was a teacher for 25 years. I still have a little bit more information to give someone that's in a rough space. So even though I'm sinking, maybe I can help her out with my last energy, that can make me feel a little better. So when he said that, I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm done. And then 3 months in, I came across this, what I'm about to teach you. And this mamash changed my life. I'm still a work in progress. My mind is still a prison sometimes, because our minds are prisons. Because how are they prisons? Because it's all I know. And anything beyond this prison cell, I don't know exists. I don't know is an option. I'm realistic about my life. I'm realistic about my circumstances. I'm realistic about my husband. I'm realistic about my situation. I'm realistic about my health. I'm realistic. This is what it is. The doctor said. They said. So it is what it is. This is what they said. What do you mean? Right? And it's such sheker. When you live a life of growth and change and spirituality and godliness, we don't live in that realm. Because if you want to see change and if you want to really upgrade, you don't just take what they say and say, oh, it's what I have. Okay, so I have this. Now I have to live my life in that box of this is what I am and this is what I have. That's false. So this is what Rabbi Nachman writes. Listen to this. He says, Chelek Shani, רק אתה, only now, נודע לי, גודל יקרת המחשבה, only now. This is a man, okay? This is a man that has been teaching over and over again, stressing the concept of power of thoughts, power of the mind, it's all in the mind. Your life starts and ends in your mind. Your relationship starts and ends in your mind. Your health, your wealth, your body, your everything starts and ends in how you gauge it, how you think about it, how small the thoughts are around that thing. And now it's very easy to be passive in our lives, because then it's like, it's not my fault, like, it's God doing this to me. Thanks a lot, God. After I'm Baal Tshuva and I started keeping Shabbos for you, and this is what I do, this is what I get. Thanks a lot, God. It doesn't work that way. We are partners in the creation of our life with Hashem. We are partners. He's 50% in if you're 50% in. If you're not 50% in, he's 50% in, but 50% gets you 50%. You can pray your head off. And prayer is extremely important. Prayer can change something. It can make something from nothing. Prayer can make something from nothing. Just like Sarah didn't have a womb. She didn't have the womb and she got pregnant. How do you get pregnant if you don't have a womb? Because she didn't stop praying and believing and knowing and expecting, and I deserve this and I want this and I want it, but realistically you don't have a womb. Who cares about what's realistic? We change the reality based on where we are in our minds, based on where we are in our belief, in our faith, in our how much we demand from life. So, I'm going to just be passive. I have no money. Okay, I'll stay in the same place. I'll live my life. I'm depressed. I'm sick. I'm tired. I'm angry. I'm sad. I'm lonely. I'm going to stay here. No. That's not what God wants. You can wear 10 shaitos on your head. He doesn't want that. Because that's not you fighting for life. Your job, the only job you have in this world is to live. Nekuda. The only job we have is to live ourselves, is to live our souls, is to live our missions, is to live our passions, is to live and to live it right. It's not to live it halfway. It's not to live it by giving away all of our power. Okay, it's much easier to just give somebody else the power. It's much easier to just say, it is what it is. It's much easier, but it's paying a very, very, very heavy price. In the short run and in the long run. Short run and long run. And we're all struggling with that. So it's not just you or it's not just me, and I'm not the perfect person in this area, but I know about this. And when I fall, I let myself fall, and I get all like, and I read the reality, and I read the reality, and I read the reality, but it don't, and it's not, and it's never gonna be, and then, okay, are you better now, Devorah? No, I feel like crud. Okay, so can you stop now? Yeah, that's what happens a lot with me, all the time, actually. Okay, when I go into this place, I'm like, it's just gonna stay this way forever, and it's never gonna change, and okay, you done? Okay, sweetie, you finished? You got it out of your system? I used to be hard on myself. I used to be like, stop it! Stop it! And then I realized that, like, I have to reparent myself. We all have to be our best friends. We all have to know how to talk to ourselves. And we're all going to screw up and mess up and make mistakes in the way we talk to ourselves and the way we think. We're going to think bad things. Bad things. Bad things. You know, like when you see Brene Brown says this. She says, like, you see your kids sleeping in bed. And it's so sweet. You know? They're sleeping in bed. And the second you see them like all like sweet and cute and you eat them, the second you see that, all of a sudden like the worst thought goes through your head. Like someone's gonna kidnap them, or like they're gonna get run over, God forbid, or like all like really bad things come. I don't know if you've had this, but Brene Brown says it, so it's true. It's not just me. So like you could think like the worst things all of a sudden when something's so beautiful and so pure and so wonderful. Why? Because our minds are very vicious, and we need to learn how to control the mind. I took my kids horseback riding on Hanukkah. I thought they were going to go horseback riding, but the guy was like, come on, get up. I was like, no, I'm not going to get on him. I'm okay. I don't want to get on the horse. Yalla, tali, kvar, tali, no, tali. And I was like, okay, I'm getting on. I get on the horse, and I'm sitting on the horse, and he gives us like a little like instruction, like a 15-minute like walk around the inside of the barn. Okay, this is what you do if you want the horse to slow down. You go, if you want the horse to stop, you go, oh, okay? I was like, okay. So I was like, oh, no! You have to be nice to the horse. Oh, because if you say, oh, to the horse is going to freak out on you and then run away with you. You don't want the horse to run away with you. No, I don't want the horse to run away with me. Okay, so we're going to say it like this. Okay, so he gave us all these techniques and all these ways of getting the horse to do what you wanted to do. And in the beginning, he was like, okay, you guys ready to go out? The barn? So it's me. My older one was like, there's no way in heck I'm getting on a horse. So he walked. And my little one, my 8-year-old, was like, yeah, let's go, giddy up. And he's like, oh, and my heart is afraid for my life, and my heart is afraid for my child's life, and my heart is just afraid, but at the same time, I have to put on really, like, I got this show for this cool Sephardi dude that's riding his horse, okay, and I said, maybe give us another few minutes, just give us another before he did it. And he walks out, he takes the horses out, and we're out, we're on the road, there's cars around us, and now I have to, my child is behind me on his horse, who seems a little like has dementia. Something's wrong with the horse, okay? My horse is beautiful. I love my horse. But he kept on telling me, you have to kick the horse in the side. You have to really kick it. And I was wearing these shoes, and these shoes are like, I've kicked myself with these shoes, and it's painful. Okay? So like he's like, I'm not kicking the horse. I'm not kicking the horse in the belly. What if she's pregnant? He's like, kick the horse in the belly. That's what you're supposed to do. I was like, I don't want to kick the horse in the belly. He's like, listen, do you want the horse to walk? Do you want the horse to go? Or do you want the horse to stay? You want to stand in the same place all day? Do you want to stay in the same place all day? I said, no. So he said, so kick the horse. I said, okay, I'll kick the horse. So I kicked the horse, and he's like, that's not how you kick a horse. I was like, come on, sweetie. We're going to go now. We're going to talk about it. You want to talk through? Let's talk this out. Just walk. And he's like, you have to kick the horse. And he's like showing me how to kick the horse. I have to kick the side of the horse, and he's like, this horse the horse doesn't feel what you're doing. It's made for you to do this. Like, you have to, this is the way you communicate with it. And so he taught us all these techniques. At the end of this thing, you should have seen me. I'm like, where do we go now? Can we go out and stay out longer? I want to stay out longer. My kids were like, Ima, we have to get off the horse now. Ima, we want to go, we're hungry. I'm like, I want to keep riding the horse. Because I knew how to ride it. Now I get it. I know how to ride it. And once you know how to ride it, then you have a good time. If you're having a bad time in life, if you're having a very bad time in life, you're not riding your horse. You don't know how to slow it down. You don't know how to kick it in the right place. You don't know how to get it to listen to you. Rabbi Nachman talks all about Machshavot. He was like the founder of this concept, even though he wasn't, because it's written in the Zohar and it's talked about, but the way he brings it down. And listen to what he says. Rakata, only now, he says, when he writes this, only now, nodali, do I realize, has it become apparent to me, godel ikrat ha-machshava, how, מה זה ikrat, how do you say ikrat, ikar? Ikar.
Ikar, like the main.
Not main, the other, let me see here. Not main, but yakar. Yakar. Precious. He says, Godel ikrat ha-machshava, how precious the thoughts are, שהמחשבה אחת נוצרים, שממחשבה אחת נוצרים דברים שלמים ממש, שיש להם קיום. He says, from one thought, you can have notzarim, it creates דברים שלמים ממש, real things, שיש להם קיום, that are real. Meaning, I have a thought. If I know how to think, if I know how to ride this horse, if I know how to think, by the end of this class, you're going to know how to think. In 10 minutes when we're done, you're going to know how to do this. Okay? When you have a thought, and you have a thought, and you have this thought creates davar mamash, amiti. It brings it into reality. It creates your reality. Okay, but how? I have a million thoughts going on all day. They don't all come into reality. They don't all happen. That's the thing. We have so many thoughts. We're so scattered in our thinking. We have to know how to go, oh. We have to know how to think in order to get this thing to go, in order to get this machine to work, in order to get this thing to operate, to work in our favor, not to work against us. People that have mental illness, I'm not going to get into it deeply. Mental illness is a formulation of wrong thinking around a situation. Now, it's no one to blame, because what happens is that there's a stimulus. A parent, let's say, like we gave in the beginning, a parent that's on drugs. Now, the child wants to, by nature, by survival, wants to love the parent, be close to the parent, have a relationship with the parent. So the mind of the child, in order to create some kind of a survival mechanism, what the child does is it creates a wall to protect itself. Okay, let's say the father is very aggressive and he yells a lot and he breaks things and he still wants to love the father, he still wants to have a relationship with the father. So almost like he almost puts down like a screen, like a denial. Like, he gets used to it. He knows that if he does this, if he triggers his father this way or does this or leaves his shoes out or whatever, so he's going to make sure to avoid any of those kinds of things. And if it happens, he has a survival mechanism towards it. So what happens? This child grows up, his thinking around, let's say, relationships, or around men that are older than him, or in this sugya, his thinking around that, it becomes warped. It's not healthy thinking. It's not correct thinking. It's not responsible thinking. It's not right thinking. It's warped thinking. He'll do this. He'll become a people pleaser. He'll twist himself into a pretzel around his boss, around other people that are in an authority situation. Why? Because his mind has created around this stimulus a way around it. And this way around it is unhealthy thinking. Unhealthy thinking. And what's ADD? What's bipolar? What's depression? It's all of the nefesh. This is from the Zohar. This is all from the Zohar. It's all the nefesh's reaction to unhealthy stimulus is going around them. What's depression? Depression is a lot of low energy, because there's such a lack of proactive energy and energy of life. There's such a lack of it that the only energy that they have is so little bit that they just stay little. They just keep the machine running, just keep the engine on. There's no gas in the tank. We're just going to keep the engine on. We're going to run on fumes. That's depression. It's basically, there's a stimulus that comes into the child's life, and then the child creates a survival way of dealing with this stimulus, but the creation of this survival is unhealthy. It's unhealthy, and that's how mental illness becomes. That's how it happens. All of a sudden, why is there fear of commitment, fear of marriage, fear of relationships, there's all these phobias. People have 1,000,001 phobias. Fear of heights, where do they come from? It's a reaction to something that is, what is fear? Fear is something that's not even real. Fear is something that's not real. When does a person, people are afraid of not having money. Why are they afraid of not having money? Because Is there a reason for you to be afraid of not having money? Do you have money right now? Do you have money to pay your rent right now? Do you have a roof over your head right now? Do you have food in your fridge right now? Yes. So why are you not sleeping at night? You're not sleeping at night because your fear of not having money is a fear, and it's lodged here. It's lodged. Because of why? Because of your experiences over and over and over again. If you saw your mother and you saw your father and you saw how they were running around and they were so scared and they didn't have money and they were crying. You could have a lot of money and you could still have fear of not having money. It's דבר לא אמיתי. It's not something that's real. What is it's a formulated reaction to something that's not healthy, and the unhealthy thinking makes you shoot yourself in the foot in life. Not get married, not allow yourself to allow money into your life, not all of these things. So he says, look at this. Look how your thoughts, Rabbi Nachman says, your thoughts נוצרים דברים שלמים ממש שיש להם קיום. And we're going to learn how to do this. He says in another place, צריך לשמור מאוד. You have to protect very, very much את המחשבה, your thoughts. כי מחשבה יכול להיות נעשה דבר חיוני ממש. Because from a thought, something real comes into life. You give birth to something real from a thought. A thought brings into life something real. And then there's a lot more here. I'm not going to read all of them to you, but I'm just going to read the important ones. I mean, they're all important, but the really strong ones. The Peleiotes, Rav Eliezer Papo, he says, למחשבה יש כוח המושך, שמה שהאדם מתמקד בו, כך הוא מושך על עצמו לטוב או לרע. He says that the machshava, the actual thought, has such an energy wave, it has such an energy force. It's a force. It has an energy. It has a force. It's a force. You can think something, all of a sudden see it. Think of someone, all of a sudden they call you. You ever had that? Synchronicity. When you think of someone, all of a sudden you see them. All of a sudden something happens that's connected to it. Why? Because when you think of something and you know how to think about it, and that's what we're going to learn right now, to learn how to think about it, מחשבה מביאה, he says, למחשבה יש כוח המושך, שמה שהאדם מתמקד בו, כך הוא מושך על עצמו לטוב או לרע. What you think about, you pull into your life, whether it's good or bad. And don't say God. Don't start bringing God into everything. Okay? Don't say, he put me in this situation. I'm divorced because God put me in this situation. No, because I have relationship issues, because of the trauma that I went through that I'm sorting out. That's what. Don't tell me, God this and God that. God wants you to have the best, the most, the ultimate from this lifetime. That's why he keeps on bringing people over Gilgulim and next world and the next thing. And why do we keep coming back? When Rizal says we're all recycled souls. Why are we all recycled souls? Because we all didn't do what we needed to do. We were all scared. We were all frozen. We were all paralyzed by what? By messed up thinking. You gotta learn how to think. You learn how to think, you'll ride your horse. You'll ride your horse, you'll get the results that you want to get. You'll feel good. You'll be happy. You'll feel alive. You'll touch life. You'll be in touch with life. You'll make other people's lives better. It's not a mitzvah to suffer. It's not a mitzvah to suffer. It's not. I know we think it is. A lot of us religious people think it's a mitzvah to suffer. No, it's a mitzvah to be happy all the time. That's what Hashem wants. That's why he created the world, to make us happy, to give us pleasure. But we block our own pleasures with our limiting beliefs. Oh no, that's not going to come to me. I'm only going to deserve a husband that's going to give me 5% of his time. You're saying that to yourself, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't say it to yourself up here, you say it to yourself over here. Now, if you don't do the work, what's over here is what you're going to attract. Now, what's the work? Here's the work. Ready? One more thing before you do the work. Gemara Makos, it says like this. It says, "B'derech sh'adam rotzeh lelech, molichin oto." In the way that a person wants to go, he's escorted. The Maharsha says something crazy. He says, "The molichin oto." He says, the way that he's escorted, you are escorted by what? The Maharsha says, energies. He says, the energy that comes from the person's machshava. The way that you want to go, in that way you're escorted. So if I want to do something, I have a ratzon for something, I have a will and a want for something, that's where I'm going to be escorted. He says, who are these escorts? He says, malachim and energies, bodies of energies, take you in the direction that you want to go in. Now, you could not voluntarily want. But it's almost like the script that you have written out for yourself. This is what my mom had. This is what my grandmom had. This is what I've seen my whole life. This is what I'm going to have. Is it what you want? What do you want? What do you want? And once you know what you want, this is what you're going to do. Ready? Because if you're going to have, if these angels are taking you in the direction of the things that you want, and you're getting a lot of the things that you don't want, it's because you're being too passive in your life. You're not saying, this is what I want, and I'm going to go to war for this thing that I want. Even though my mother didn't have it, my father didn't have it, nobody I know has it, I'm going to have it. I'm going to have it. And that's what he says here. He says like this. Listen to this. He says, what's the, wow, there's so much to teach about. Okay, we're going to skip those. Okay? What is a work? It's very simple. We just have to get into a brainwashing situation. You have to brainwash yourself. You have to create mantras that you say to yourself all the time. Annoying ones, stupid ones, like things that make you want to barf on yourself. Like things are going to be great. Life is amazing. Those stupid things like that. That's what we say. When you're feeling stupid and cruddy and bad and low and no energy and fat and all those things, when you're feeling those things, you say, you think, because what you put on repeat in your machshava, that is what becomes betokef gadol. That's what Rabbi Nachman was talking about. That is what creates metziut mamash. It's not what I know. I don't have any experience with that. What I don't know, it's what do you want? Do you want to know? How much do you want to know? How much do you want to experience good? How much do you want to experience love in your marriage? How much do you want to have a healthy body? How much do you want to have a healthy relationship with your children? How much do you want to be calm and not get angry? How much do you want to be a good role model? How much do you want to be a light for other people in their life? How much do you want it? You want it a lot? What do you see on your plate? It's not there at all. It's only there a little bit. You only have 2% of your plate with it. The rest of your plate is stuff that you don't like, stuff that you don't want to eat, stuff that you don't enjoy. The relationship that you're in, the job that you're in, the body that you're in, you don't like? Guess what? Good news, we could change it. We're expected to change it. They want us to change it. God wants us, demands for us to change it. And if we don't change it, He puts our heads back into the poop. Back into the poop. You want this more? You want more of this? You want more of this? How much more can you take of this? Until you decide, that's it, I'm done, I'm changing. So how do you change? You change by very, very simply understanding, being like, literally, like, there's a smartphone and there's a dumb phone. You're a dumb phone. You're a dumb phone. All you do is you take the machshava, the thought that you want to see in your life. You want to see it on the table. You want to see it in your home. You want to see it in front of you. You want to give it a hug. You take that machshava and you make it your machshava. You think it in a way, he says over here, I'm going to read to you. Emunah b'yeshuat Hashem v'atov she'akol liyot b'chayav. She'akol yichol liyot b'chayav. Meaning that is where you are. Anything is possible. I am going to will this into my existence. Because why? Because He wants me to. You have a thought. I can have an amazing relationship. And then the realistic part of you, the Debbie Downer, I call her. Because that's what I call myself. The Debbie Downer. She goes, no, you're not going to get that. That's not going to happen. That never happens. Oh, yeah, right. No, that's the conversation that's usually there. The conversation that's going to be there, moving from here on out, okay, is what do you want to see manifest in your life? Who do you want to see show up on your doorstep? How much money do you want to see in your accounts? But literally, we're not saying this from Tony Robbins, and we're not teaching this from we're saying this from Zohar, we're saying this from deep into our sources. God wants you to go to war for your life. He wants you to say, I want this, and this is what I'm going to have. You hear me? I want this, and this is what I'm going to have. And I'm expecting it, and I want it. Letzapot, lekavot, to expect it, to want it, to dream it, to know it's going to come, to believe it's going to come. And what does He say? Kol hanimshach achar hatov, hatov nimshach acharav. He says, Kol hanimshach achar hatov, anyone that goes after good, good comes after him. He says, what's this tov? What he focuses on, what he believes, and what he talks about. What you focus on, what you believe. See it in your mind's eye. See it, envision it. You want to be skinny? You want to be healthy? See it, envision it, talk it, know it, believe it with conviction. With conviction. Imagine someone were to take your child or your husband or someone that you're very, very close to and put them in a jail cell. No reason, rhyme, or explanation. They didn't do anything wrong. And now you just sit there. Oh, they went to jail. Oh, my child is sitting in jail for forever. Oh, that's so sad. I'm gonna cry every day. You're gonna cry every day. You're gonna go to work for your child to get out of jail. You're in jail. You're in jail. We're all in jail on a certain level. Go to war for yourself. Hashem doesn't want you to sit there and cry. He's in jail. Oh my God, for no reason. Yalla. He was put in jail. You're put in jail, so you can now roll up your sleeve, find the power inside of you, find that stuff inside of you, find all that stuff that you have to, brush the dust off of, and go to war for yourself, for your life, for this one life that you have. That's ticking away, and when we don't go to war, we're in prison. We're sad, we're broken, we're unhappy, we're sick. It's not like things are good when I don't do anything. Things suck when I don't do anything. So it's either one way or the other way. It's either be passive and just accept the fact that it is what it is and be sad and unhappy with the results of your life, or step up to the plate and go to war for yourself. And the only way to do that is to think it, to believe it, to see it, to envision it, to draw it, to talk to everyone. You know I'm going to have a lot of money soon? Very soon. I'm going to have so much money. You're all coming to my house, free steaks on me. All right? And then we're all going to fly to Dubai. Because we can. Okay? Like that. What?
We can't anymore, but okay.
Okay, whatever. Don't kill my point. But what the point is that like that talk. Nah, but realistically, everyone's dying from corona. I'm next. What? Corona doesn't touch me. I don't have any connection to corona. Akol beseder. I am healthy. I have a long life ahead of me. I have a lot to do in this world. I have a lot to change. I have a lot to give. I have lots of people to love. Lots of light to spread everywhere. I have a mission that I'm going to accomplish, and I'm going to do it well. None of this. How are you? Fine. Right, Allison. Tell him. I was sitting next to someone recently, and I'm going to end with this, and I said, hey, how you doing? And the answer was something like, could be worse.
Hi.
You know why your life sucks? Because you say that. That's why it could be worse. Don't say it could be worse, and don't say it could be better. Say, Baruch Hashem, Yom Yom, things are good, things are going to even be amazing, even very soon, you'll see. We're going to dance at my wedding so soon. Say amen.
Amen.
Like that. That's how you talk. That's how you think. That's what he wants. When you talk like that, when we're like that, he's like, yeah! Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's how he is. That's what he's doing. He's dancing and cheering for you. He doesn't need any of this like, Ashkenazi, Polish, like, life. No, he doesn't need that. He doesn't need that. We were taught to daven that way. And when you have something on your heart, say it and cry it and get it out there. But you walk away from prayer knowing and being certain and being convinced. Letzapot, lekavot. Those things, they break the patterns. Those things, they break what you see on your plate. And they allow for new things to come in. The things that you want. Thoughts create your reality. Choose them wisely. And then when you choose them wisely, harp on them. Broken record syndrome. Like that. Okay, harp on them. See them, envision them, talk about them, draw them. Do it. And they will show up in your life. The Torah doesn't stump talk. And then you go into psychology books and mindfulness and all the stuff that's out there in the non-Jewish world today. They're saying the same stuff. So if you don't like what you see, you have the power to change it. Not only do you have the power, you have the mitzvah, you're expected, you're demanded, and that's what you need to do. That's the work. All right? Mm-hmm. So next week, we're having a class in Malka's house, Malka Rothman. She lives here. Where? French Hill. Skolnick?
Yeah.
Oh, fine. Thank you. We're having it in her house, and come and bring your friends. We're trying to do this. We're trying to do this on a weekly or bi-weekly, what's it called?
Basis.
Yes. And so we're going to do that, and hopefully, you know what? The more we get into learning, the more we expand, the more your life changes. But we have to realize that we have to sacrifice. And malasot, we have to sacrifice. That's how it is. Okay, Jerry's doing this for free. I'm doing this for free. You guys are doing this for free, but we're all getting somewhere with this, and that's the
So
point.
by the way, donation would be nice if someone would.
Yeah. It's all good. Energetically is also, by the way, I just want you to know, energetically, just so we know that when you're given something, it's very good to give back energetically, because what happens is that you make yourself into a kli. Whatever, it's a long story, but basically it's very, very good energetically. Not to necessarily always be the recipient of free stuff, even though we all love free stuff, even to give a pruta, because energetically it allows for there not to be this needy kind of energy. We don't want the needy energy in our life. We want to have the equilibrium. Yeah. So even if you give like a 10 of gold, it doesn't matter to where.
So the cover is going for jury. They put up all this food. That's
Well, yeah. Part.
yeah,
and part for my babysitter.
Where the money is going.
Yeah.
Or babysitter maybe.
Yeah. All right, friends. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining. Do you guys want to say goodbye to my friend on Facebook or no? Maybe some people want to say bye. Don't tell Jerry. Bye. Say bye. See, we're all COVID free and we still like each other sitting in the same room.